I came from nothing. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I learned a skill. I took a gamble when many would have not,
Mm.
in my experience. It paid off. I then diversified. Now I own multiple seven-figure companies, a holiday park, a trade holiday home company, a PPC agency, and an AI agency.
Welcome to You're the Boss podcast show. And today I have a guest with me, Michael Elliott. He's also from the UK, where I'm from. So it's nice to chat with a fellow Brit. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Now, I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and I'm excited to share my journey and experience with the audience.
That's wonderful. So, just tell us, Michael, just a little bit about who you are, what we should know as we just go into this episode.
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I came from nothing. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I came from nothing. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I learned a skill. I took a gamble when many would have not,
Mm.
in my experience. It paid off. I then diversified. Now I own multiple seven-figure companies, a holiday park, a trade holiday home company, a PPC agency, and an AI agency, plus a few other different investments in real estate, etc. So I've come a long way from my beginning line, but as a baseline and a core, I am a freelancer that operates in the digital field. So Google ads, Meta ads,
Mm.
digital advertisements, and increases revenue for businesses every day.
Nice. So I think some people listening to this or watching this might be thinking, oh God, you've got so many businesses and I'm struggling to work out whether I can actually just start one. Can you maybe just tell us a little bit about how you mentioned that you came from, you say nothing, but it's not nothing, but um, just just tell us where you came from. What were the hurdles you had to go through to become as successful as you are today?
Okay, well, I'll go a long way back. I'll try and keep it relatively brief. If you're sat there today thinking, can I start a business? Can I begin my own journey? Or can I scale my business now from where I am? The
Mm.
answer to that question is 100% yes.
Mm.
The only problem that you would have is if you don't have a skill. And even if you don't have a skill, with AI now, you could learn that skill. So I want to send
Very
that
true.
message out because positive energy is really important. And it is true. It's not a motivational speech. It's a fact that you can, it's a fact that you can do that.
Right.
So my journey started. So when I was born, my mum and dad were working like 2 or 3 jobs each, watering down milk. And
Mm.
it was a very, very difficult period for my family. I was the youngest of 3, and
Mhm.
they were in a position where, they were struggling to make ends meet, very much like most of the population now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not get into politics, but yeah, that's happening, and my life started that way, but I never felt it because my house was filled with love from my siblings, from my mum, my dad, even my extended family, which not so much anymore, but even then, I could feel all of that, and it wasn't until I got older that I realized actually that we were poor and my mum had she started her own business. So it's in your DNA. She started her own business and made her life better for herself and us as a
Right.
byproduct.
And
And
just out of interest, how old was she when she started her business?
oh, my mum, how old would she have been? Probably older than me, probably. I want to say maybe like 36,
Yeah,
37. I want to say. So
that's
she
how
was,
old I
I'm,
was actually
yeah,
when I
yeah, I'm
started mine.
30, I'm
Yeah.
33. So what had happened was 3 major incidents. In the space of 6 months, I could have lost my dad, my brother, and my nephew.
Mhm.
My dad, it went in this order. My brother had a motorbike accident,
Mhm.
um, and he nearly died. He's got 7 metal plates in his face.
Mm.
He's okay. That obviously stress on the whole family causes major
Mm.
stress for everybody. Everyone's upset.
Of course. Yeah.
Then uh, that night, my brother's wife told my mum that she was pregnant with my brother's baby, who's my
Mhm.
nephew Lewis, who's actually downstairs now. He's come to stay with me for a bit, but he was born, but he's got Down syndrome, so
Okay.
he was born with Downs.
Mm.
And then a few months after Lewis was born, the trauma of open heart surgery when he was born, all of these things that he
Mm.
had, my dad had a heart attack. and my dad died. 36 years old he was at the time.
Okay.
He
Wow.
died, and they brought him back with a defibrillator. So
Okay.
I didn't lose anybody, but
Mm.
I
That's
dodged 3 bullets in very quick succession somehow.
yeah.
Like something up there was looking after us.
Right.
And I know other people are not so lucky, and that could
Mm.
have gone very
Mm.
differently for me, like in terms of
Yeah.
how my life panned out.
Mhm.
So that made my mum and dad move location, and because I was 10 years younger, I was the only one that went. When they
Okay.
moved, they had that entrepreneurial spirit. Something lit inside them. They were like, we no longer want to keep it on this hamster wheel. We want to try and build something ourselves. And they built a
Right.
successful business with multiple shops. And
Mm.
that got us out of the rut, more towards a middle class section. But having come from
Mhm.
nothing, you feel the difference. Like,
Mm.
feel the change. And
Mm.
then at 18, this is where my personal story. So up till this point, that sounds devastating, the three things, and it was. It's still something
Mm.
I hold dear to my heart. But I was too
Mhm.
young to understand it. I was 7, maybe 8. I
Right.
didn't get it at the time. Now I get it, but I didn't get it
Right.
at the time. So I can't claim that that was pain that I still hold today.
Right.
Um, but at 18, 19 years old, I got my partner pregnant whilst I was at university, my previous partner. And whatever happened, happened. I didn't grow up in time, to be honest. And we ended up parting ways. And when we parted ways, life was really good for 6 months or 4 months.
Mm.
It felt like, I'm single, da da da. The baby was, I was seeing Poppy, my eldest, great relationship now, but I was seeing
Yeah.
Poppy and
Lovely name and
nothing hit me. I've got my youngest is called Rosie and my eldest is called Poppy.
oh.
Yeah. And nothing hit me. I didn't understand drinking, taking drugs, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, things that I don't do anymore. But
Mm.
like that was my journey, and I was on that journey, and I was like enjoying it. Oh, I'm out with the lads. I'm young. Da da da. And then all of a sudden, literally, I woke up one morning, and it was literally I just woke up one morning,
Mm.
and I felt like somebody'd ironed me to the bed, as in like I couldn't get out, and I was like,
Right.
"What's the matter?" And all the dark thoughts started creeping in, not necessarily suicidal, but
Mm.
not suicidal at all, but I
Mm.
started to creep in, feeling the pressure. What had happened is that the reality had hit me. I
Mm.
realized that I'd lost my baby, as in I'm not gonna see her every day.
Right.
You're living your life, but you're not living your
Mm.
life with your eldest daughter, and
Mm.
that's not what I wanted. And it hit me. That ended up with me being in the house for 6 months. I didn't leave the house for 6 months, hardly. We maybe walked to the shop a few times, but I didn't leave the
Mhm.
house. Everybody was worried about me. Mum and dad were really worried about me. Like, they were
Mm.
scared of gonna work and leaving me. But it's not a sob story, this. What I'm trying to get out of it is that that was my frozen heart moment, and to this day,
Mm.
I still have a frozen core. Like, it's very difficult to upset me.
Right.
Um, that might not be a good thing, but in
Mhm.
terms of sparking my entrepreneurial spirit, it was a very, very good thing, because it
Right.
meant that how can you go to the lowest point ever and be scared when you've already been there?
Yes.
I've already been at the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this now and you've gone through hard times before, you'll know what I mean. If you
Mm.
haven't, then God bless you, and like you're very lucky. But a lot of people have. They've had
Yeah.
their moment,
Of
and
course.
my moment was that. And
Mm.
I was fortunate enough that it happened young enough to
Mm.
put me in a position where I managed to. I'm not going to go through the story, but I got back on my feet, got a job because obviously I was unemployed at the time.
Mm.
Got a job, ended up in a position where I worked at a PPC agency, worked my way up, learned everything that there is to know about the craft. And a mate of mine came around my house one day and he said to me, he left the agency that I was at and he came
Right.
around for tea. And he came round and he looked at me dead in the eye. I swear this is true. He looked at me dead in the eye and he said to me, he goes, looking at you now, still at that agency, a year after I've left and started my own business, just
Mm.
reminds me how much of a good decision it was. And
Right.
I felt like somebody had stabbed me in the gut.
Okay.
Apologies about this. I felt like somebody had stabbed me in the gut. And it was like, because I knew it was true. Like what he was
Yeah.
saying, right? I knew it inside. I'd known it for a while, but I just didn't have the bravery to act on it or the inclination.
Mm.
And it
Mm.
it took him giving me, it wasn't even like a long discussion. It was like
Mm.
just a comment that he made. And I was like, whoa. Next day, handed my notice in at the agency. I had three.
So you were ready to receive that message at that time.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to be ready. That's one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You'll know when you're ready because
Mhm.
you'll feel it. But like
Yeah.
that message was, that message was put out, and it gave us a real sense of like opportunity. But
Mm.
also, I had a newborn baby
Mhm.
that was just born, and I had £3,000 in the bank and nothing else.
Right.
Mortgage, house, um, and I was like, "This is the worst possible circumstances you could ever start a business in."
Right.
You're living month to month, basically,
Mm.
with
Mm.
maybe 1 month worth of rain cover
Right.
in finances, and you're about to start your own agency. And I backed myself, and I just went for it, and it's the best
Yeah.
thing I've ever done.
I
Like,
was I was kind of like that as well when I started my business over 20 years ago. I was teaching English at the time, and I just went and handed in my notice, and my boss was begging me, "Please don't go. Please don't go. We need you here, please." What are you thinking of? This is the worst time to start a business. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I need to do this. I knew I needed to do it. So I just went ahead and, like, knowing nothing about running a business, but I just knew I needed the freedom. For me, it was freedom, freedom of
yeah,
time to be able to look after my two young kids. And I wasn't getting that freedom working, teaching, because the hours were fixed. So that's why I did it. And you're right. When you're ready to do it, right? It's got to be done no
yeah,
matter what.
you
Right.
do. You definitely
Mm.
feel. I definitely felt it. But you
Mm.
know what? What I love, and I wish I could get it back. I'd be lying if I said that I had it now.
Yeah.
They say, but there's a saying in boxing. There's a saying in boxing that is this: it's that it's very difficult to go for a 5 a.m. run in your silk pajamas.
Okay.
And what that means is that you work your way up, you box when you're younger, you
Mm.
fight, you're
Mm.
hungry, you haven't got anything, you're fighting. You fight your way
Yeah.
up through the different levels, you get to, and eventually you end up at world championship level. You
Mm.
fight for the world title, you win. Tyson Fury is a big advocate of this. He
Mm.
mentions it, how when he won his title, he just felt completely depressed because
Mm.
he was
Yeah.
like, "What's next? What
Yes.
do I do from here? This is what all I've striven to do."
Yeah.
But initially, when I started my business, right, there was no way you could stop me.
Mm.
I'd set my alarm 3 times a night to answer American clients or people in Singapore or places like
Okay.
that.
Right.
Anywhere, Australia, New Zealand, I would set my alarm 3 times a night. And if I found myself with nothing to do, I would cold outreach to businesses. I would
Right.
call them. I would literally just do whatever. I would call people I knew, ask them if they were running digital strategies. I literally just would not take no for an answer. I was like,
Mm.
your daughter's relying on you making
Mm.
this work. And at the start, all I wanted to do was make my, 35 grand a year salary or whatever I was on. I wasn't
Right.
on a lot of money.
Yeah. So that's the same with me when I started. I just wanted to replace my income. That was all.
Yeah.
And you just sort of paint yourself into a job. But how did you then move on to growing it more than that? Because obviously you've grown your businesses a lot and you've gone into several different businesses. How did you get that business acumen, or how did that develop?
Through trial and error. There's a lot of trial and error in business. I knew
Mm.
that I got to a certain point, and believe you me, speaking openly, actually, I'm not going to give the number, but I was making a lot of money every month, and I was
Right.
working on my own, and I had a good work-life balance.
Hmm.
99.9% of the world would have been happy with what I was earning and the work that I was doing, right?
Right.
Like, they would have been like, "Just stop there." But
Okay.
me, for some reason, I was like, "Well, I could take on more if I just hire." And,
Mm.
you know, looking back on it, there's loads of positives. I did the right thing for me because 'cause I'm ambitious.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, lifestyle-wise, I would understand why 95% of people would have stayed exactly where they were,
Right.
because I took on all the extra. When you take on staff, they're
Mm.
now my pressure. If something happened in my company, I it would be me who got fed last. I would be out
Yeah.
of everything, including my children, right,
Mm.
to that point, until I got rid of them, because I
Mm.
consider them to be my responsibility.
Mm.
That's what makes me a good leader, and
Right.
that's why I'm in such a strong position.
So
The
that's
what
really
Yeah, why? I do it for everybody else. I've got a lady that's just started working for me now, that's come through in this capacity, and I don't want to give away too many personal details,
Mm,
but she's building a life in the UK. The
mm,
jobs helped her and allowed her to get a few things done that she needed
mm,
to get done, and I feel very proud about that.
mm,
And
mm.
the other people who I took out of hellholes, like where they were working. I know because I used to work there, and the thing is that, and like there's one girl who I have to shout out, and I do in a lot of podcasts, but her
Yeah.
name's Chloe Marston, and Chloe took a 12 grand a year, roughly somewhere around there, 12 grand a year pay cut to come and work for me,
Mm,
and I've never asked her directly. I was with her yesterday. We never have like that conversation, but she only did that. She must have done that, one, because she was unhappy. That's one thing. But
right.
then two, she must have seen it in me and
Mm,
knew that, because I couldn't afford the wage that she was on at the
mm,
time to pay her because of where the company was at. But I
yeah.
needed somebody to help me so I could continue trying to win the business whilst
Yeah.
delivering. So I was like, okay, well, where do I go? And I asked her and I said, that's the best I can do right now. But I promise you, the
Mm,
next X amount to get you to Y, I
mm,
will pay you.
mm,
And sure enough,
mm,
I got on the phone call with her. She asked for a bit of time. I think she
mm.
called back about 2 hours later. She was like, I'm coming to work for you." She's like, "You're gonna do it," and that's it. And
So that's interesting. So, like, did you paint a picture for her when you said, like, okay, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm going to be, and I'll be able to pay you more when we get here. So, did you paint that picture of that vision and include her in attaining
well
that vision? Is that what happened?
well, check this out. So the answer to that question is my camera's really annoying me. The answer to that question the answer to that question is no. And
Okay.
what I mean by that is I didn't wanna give her any false promises
Right.
because I was like, "This is new to me."
Okay.
And I've done very well. I told her what I'd done. I'd explained
Mm.
my vision and what had happened, and like the money, I
Okay.
was very clear. And I
Yeah.
was like, I shared it all, but I
Yeah.
did say, I can't guarantee that this continues. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm only X amount of time into the.
No, but she could see that you had the vision,
Yeah, she could see I had the vision, but I was
and
also
that
realistic with her. I
yeah,
didn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantee you get that vision. But I think because this happened to me as well when I took on one person in my company, and he's told me later that the reason he joined me was because I had a vision and I was very clear where I was going, and that's why he joined.
Well,
So I think it
so
makes it when they can see that either they're going to be a part of it or at least there's a leader that's driving it, even if you don't know exactly if you're going to get there. Right? It's people want, they don't just want to be with a company because of the money. Obviously,
I,
she proved that because she took a pay cut, right?
do you
It's
know what
not
it
the
was
money.
as
Mm,
well? Oh, sorry
mm.
for cutting you off, but I
No,
just
that's
think,
okay.
do you know what the thing is? The same way what I just said,
Yeah,
like I've just explained how I am. That is
yeah,
how I actually am.
yeah.
I have like two friends, like in real life. I don't let
Right.
anybody in. Like
Okay.
that's from being cold. That's it. It's like if I haven't known
Mm,
you from back then
yeah.
you're not here now.
Right.
There are unique circumstances where things like that change. Business is one of them, but it's still like for me to trust you with something personal is very, very, very like you're not going to get it out of me.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to this, I think the thing is that they know that if the ship goes down, I'm not going to be the one on a life raft.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know that if we go down, we're all going down. It doesn't
Yes.
matter, and I'll go down with you,
Yeah.
and that's it. And when you have that energy, they look at you and as a leader, but also as a person, and they think,
Yeah.
do you know what? This guy does what he says.
Yeah.
Chloe,
Walks the
I've
talk.
launched multiple companies now,
Mm,
different companies, like a
mm,
different BPC agency, which is the main
mm.
thing that happens, which caters to different businesses. And Chloe owns a percentage of that company.
Okay.
Um, Chloe owns a percentage of my main company.
Right.
Every member of staff who works for me will eventually, after like a 4 or 5 year period, will be given
Yeah.
a percentage of the company, and that will increase
Nice.
over time.
Nice.
And
I like that.
to other business owners listening,
Yeah.
that is one thing that I would share.
Right.
That 2% or 3%, let's say you've got 5 staff members and you gave them all 2% of your company,
Mm,
right? You're like, What do you mean 10% of my profit's gone? You watch what happens to their output when they own a piece of what you're building.
Yes. They have
You
ownership of it, right?
People are so greedy. I hate greedy people, and I don't use that word lightly. I hate greedy people. For me, like, if you're the reason, Chloe is one of the main reasons why the cogs are turning.
Right.
Antoine is one of the main reasons why the cogs are turning. They're the
Mm,
reason why my life changed. They're the
mm,
reason why things have happened for me.
right.
Does she deserve just to be kept as an employee with no
Mm,
growth in
mm,
entrepreneurship?
mm,
No. Chloe owns percentages in businesses that she has nothing to do with
mm.
because I'm
Yeah,
repaying her. You took that
yeah,
leap for me. Now things are going well for me and I own all of these assets. You should
yeah,
be getting paid because you took the gamble. And everybody else, like, because if my members of staff watch this, they already know because of the internal discussions, but nobody else has percentages yet. But
right.
they haven't been here long enough.
Yeah,
My journey entrepreneurially has only been 4.5 years.
right,
In 4.5 years, I've made 8 figures.
right.
So that's how fast I've managed to be able to get myself into that position.
Yeah. Okay.
So, by doing that, it's very short. So people haven't been with me for a long time. And
Mm,
I can't reward you with a percentage just because you turn up.
mm.
You have to turn up, deliver through
To
the good
prove
and the bad.
yourself,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
And then do it
yeah,
just like Chloe did. And
yeah,
just like Harriet will. And just
yeah.
like the rest of the people who work for me will.
Nice.
Like
Right.
that's the way that it goes. You know,
Lovely. I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, like you mentioned that you have several businesses. How do you manage to keep on top of them all? What's the strategy to sort of keep them going and know what's happening and run them? Like
Well,
people very often struggle to run one.
yeah, people often struggle to one. My ADHD probably helps. I've never been diagnosed, but like I 100% have it. Like
Yeah,
there's no way. There's something. I don't know what it is, but my
yeah,
brain is like, do this task, do that task, do that task, do that task, and I just can't stop.
yeah,
Like even at night, I can't switch off.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
can't
I'm like that.
lay in bed at night, can't sleep. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
you want to do this? I almost want to get up and work. That's the way it feels. Sad
Yeah,
maybe for some people. They might say, you don't you're here once, why spend it all in this attic?
but
Um,
you're driven, right? You're driven to work.
exactly, yeah, and, I like to think people say, "Well, don't you miss out on time with your family?" I
Mm,
spend plenty of time with my family. They're
mm,
very looked after. We go to
mm,
Florida, we go to Spain, we go they
mm,
they have their way.
mm.
But what I would say is what I wanna do is I wanna be a representation of what you can achieve. That's
Yes.
my job.
Yeah.
Call me a traditionalist, right? But my partner doesn't work, okay?
Okay.
She looks after the baby.
Nice.
People don't agree with that, that's fine, that's up to you,
Yeah.
but in my
Yeah.
in my world, where I come from, my dad looked after my mum. My mum
Mm,
had to work at a certain
mm,
time, so did
mm,
my partner,
mm.
and things like that, but when it comes down to, traditionally, at least for me, in a
Mm.
world where masculinity has just been suffocated, for
Yeah.
me, it
Yeah.
makes me proud to look after my children and my family.
That's nice.
Like, that's and I
And
think
you're a
exactly. So, I
mm,
might not be sat next to you watching Toy Story when I could
mm,
be, if I
mm,
wanted to, in
mm,
terms of, like, not doing this job or not
mm,
taking this project or not doing this podcast, right?
mm,
I
mm.
could be.
Right.
But what they actually see is they see a man get up every day, go to work hard,
Yes.
work tired, and still make time for his daughters.
And
So,
you're proving as well that it can be done when
yeah,
there's people that are complaining that they have a rotten life or they don't have the opportunities. And like I like that saying that says, will the person who say it can't be done get out of the way of those doing it?
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And all that's gonna happen, if you're watching this, you're thinking about taking the if you're watching this and you're thinking about taking the leap,
Yeah.
you need to do it and you need to do it now.
Mm.
My voice and my very strange camera is gonna be hopefully an inspiration to you because I tell you, you will scare yourself when you
Mhm.
look in the mirror
Mm.
when your back's against the wall and you have no choice but to do it.
Yes. Yes.
Like you will scare you won't even recognize what you can do. You don't even know. You haven't got a clue. When
Yeah.
your back's against the wall and the only thing that you can do is whatever your skill set is and
Yeah.
drive out there and find people who will pay you to do it,
Yeah.
you won't believe it. And
Yeah.
on the flip side, you won't believe how many people are willing to pay you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
economy
Find out what people need. or
Yeah,
want would be the better word. Find out what they want and then deliver.
AI consultation,
Yeah.
like, whatever, digital marketing, creative. I wouldn't get into something like writing and things like that now, because anything that
Yeah.
AI is gonna really dominate, I would
Well,
remove.
well, that's been my pain, right, for the
Yeah,
last few years because I ran a copywriting agency. So
yeah, I
I was
see.
the first hit really when ChatGPT came out. But then that's the thing with being an entrepreneur or being a business owner is you take the rough with the smooth and you carry on and you pivot, right? You find something else. So I do some training on AI. I'm actually starting a 6-week course next week with a company. I'm training their 27 employees on how to be more productive with AI. And that's not something that I would have been able to do 5 years ago, right? This is an opportunity that's here now. So, you just
Yeah.
go with it, right?
People think using AI is asking ChatGPT a question,
Yes.
and when you open the box, you're gonna get a shock, because your day can run a lot smoother, and that works into why I can do what I can do. The other
Yes.
part of it, the other
Yes.
part of it
Yes.
is relationships. So, for example, like the holiday home stuff, my business partner Josh is 50-50 with me. He's my best friend. He's been my best friend
Good.
since I met him when I was like 11 or whatever, and he's
Mm.
been my best friend ever since.
Right.
Um, and so I've gone into business with him. Well, he does all the work. I'm not doing anything. This was the
Mm.
agreement at the start. I
Mm.
was like, I'll
Yeah.
fund this. I'll
You're a
run the
sleeping partner,
advertising.
right?
I'll do
Yeah.
this. Right? You
Yeah.
have it. But when it comes down to problems in the business, you don't bring them to me, because my thing is digital marketing and
Right.
AI. That's exactly it. So I invest in these companies. I
Mm.
give people chances,
Mm.
which is like a really big thing for me. Like
Mm.
he wasn't really doing anything at the time. Like,
Mhm.
he wasn't. And not that I went and saved him. I don't. If he watches this, I don't want him to think I'm saying, "Oh, like I came." But that's the beautiful thing about having money. It's been able to give
Yeah.
it away.
Yes.
Like, I don't spend anything on myself. Like,
Right.
it's nuts. It's very rare. Like travel, maybe, but being able to give opportunities to others is just round the corner for you. All you've
Mm.
got to do is sit down. I don't advise, let me just rewind 1 second. I don't advise everybody to do what I did, as in
Mhm.
be that close to the bone and do it,
Mm.
because I know that not every business is a success,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So the risk awareness is something you should be aware of.
Mm.
But what you should also do is look at the opportunity and understand how great that opportunity is in comparison to
Mm.
the risk.
I
You
mean,
can,
I kind of feel like after I left, like working for other people and I set up my own business, I would never go back now to doing that
no,
because I just know that I'm responsible for making my own money and I will find a way to do it. And then just the opportunities are so much greater, right?
yeah, just
And
click your fingers now, right? Take
mm,
everything off of me, drop me in Kenya, right? With nothing else, drop me in Kenya, and I'll have a safari opened within 6 months.
no,
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's
yeah,
my mentality. It's like,
yeah,
it's crazy. It's like I see all these opportunities and
yeah,
I take hold of them. So, like,
wonderful.
that's my belief. Am I silly? Like, could I open a safari in Kenya? Do I know
Mm,
anything about safaris? The thing is that, do you know when the company that you're working for started, they
mm,
didn't know either.
mm,
They didn't
mm,
know. They had a skill, but they didn't
exactly.
know. And then
Yeah,
what they did is they took action, they took the risk,
yeah,
the step, and they figured it out. And
yeah.
that's all you have to do.
And then when you figure it out, it's like you get that confidence and you get out of your comfort zone a little bit and you step a little bit further and
Yeah,
then you're in your comfort zone again and then you do something more to
yeah.
expand out of that, right? That's the way it happens is and then when you look back, you see how far you've come,
I've spoken to
right?
multiple billionaires, and I've also been
Right.
in the room with one, right?
Yeah.
There aren't that many of them out there. There are
Mm,
plenty now, really, but I've been
mm,
in the room with a few of them. When it
mm,
comes down to people who earn 9 figures plus,
mm,
I've seen tens, if not hundreds of them. Like,
right.
spoken to them in person. Some of them are like a coach to me, or
Right.
some of them it'll be like an event or whatever. I've
Mm,
seen. I would never have been in those rooms. And do you know what the
mm,
thing is? The more you progress, the bigger the room. So right
yeah.
now, I've never felt as underutilized as I have been, even though I've been in a job with 35K. I'm looking at all the new opportunities that come to light and that bring
Mm,
themselves. and I see how big I can actually take it. And I'm thinking like, this is a relay. I'm going to commit my life to all of this so I can hand that baton off to my eldest daughter and my youngest daughter when
Nice.
they get old enough,
Yeah.
with proper structure, trusts, etc. Proper
Yeah.
structure. Hand the baton off with them and tell them to take what I did, and you go. If I make, I don't put numbers on it, but you know, I had a goal for £1 million liquid cash, and
Right. Yeah. You
when I
said
hit
that.
it, I had the same thing. I hit it, and then I was like, I woke up. Well, I hit it for an hour. I was buzzing, and then after that, I was kind of like, well, I've still got to
Now
do
what?
the
Right.
client report. Like, you know, still got to do this thing. And when that happened, it's kind of like, okay, well, what's next? And since that point, since that goal bit got hit, I've been the same. Like, I've been just, what's next? Always what's next, like, or how
Yeah.
can I improve this, and what's next? And yeah, like, I have a
No,
crazy brain. Sometimes I wish I had 10 of me, but I just want people to know that, listen, anybody can cover their salary working for themselves.
yes, for sure. And then with AI as well, there's just no excuse, right? Absolutely no excuse.
It's not even just AI. AI, yes, there isn't any excuse. You can learn
Yeah.
anything that you want, and you can learn it very quickly, right?
Yeah.
Even if you can't do it, right? Even if you can't do it, you can say that you can. I don't want, how do I say this? I don't want to say you say that you can do something that you can't, but let's
Mm,
say if you have to, because I've done this in my early
mm,
days,
mm.
if you have to over exaggerate your experience a little bit during a sales call in order to
Yeah.
close the deal, that's sales.
Yeah.
That's not you being a liar.
And then you find
That's not
out
you.
then you
That's
find
not
out
you
how to
being.
do it.
Then you find the answer. And the
Yeah.
thing is that the only thing that you need to be certain of is that you can find the answer.
Yeah.
Never do it if you can't, but if you can, and you know, hey, I've never touched that market before, but I know
Mm,
because I
mm.
know X, Y, and Z that I can do that. I'm going to take it, right?
Nice,
Because
nice.
especially early, like nowadays, like there's everything I do, I can do like the back of my hand. But like when it comes down to the early days, you're going to have to fight tooth and nail. It's not going to be easy. So I just want people to know that when it comes down to the actual entrepreneurship and the actual side of it, if I can come from where I come from to
Mm,
here, right? And I am nowhere. Like
mm,
I am not in, like technically you like, I don't know, whatever, top 1% of earners globally,
mm,
whatever, all of that. I don't drive a Lamborghini. I
mm,
don't have a 75-bedroom house. Like I live very comfortably. I have money, but I don't
mm.
blow it. And when it comes down to like what you're trying to achieve, it's not that far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 4 years, I've got to this point, but in 4 months, I had $100,000 in the bank.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
4 months. I'd made 3 times. I'd got what I would have been paid in 4 years in 3
Right.
months when I
Wow.
started. Like,
Yeah. The
and
possibilities are endless, right, when you actually
exactly.
take the
Just
challenge.
don't be afraid. I wish I could grab older people and like in that
Yes.
moment when they need it, because people do
Yeah.
need it. I needed it. I got it when I needed it. And I wish so many people are in that moment when they need it. And do you know what happens? Someone says, don't, you're comfortable in your job. You've got a good job. You work a 4-day
Mhm,
week. Don't
mm,
do that. That
mm,
doesn't happen around me. Like
mm.
if someone around me was ever to mention, if anyone ever said no to like an idea, it'd be the last time I spent any time with them. The question isn't,
Very
the answer
true.
isn't no. The answer is how.
Yeah.
That's sorry. The question is the statement or whatever. You know,
Mm.
one's a statement, one's a question. But
Yeah.
like,
The
what you
response.
should be saying is,
Yeah.
well, actually, that's a really good idea. This is a problem, but
Yeah.
this is how you might be able to solve it.
Yeah.
And then when you share rooms with people like that, you don't even have to do the work. They unlock the doors for you
No.
because they've already done it.
Yeah. Yeah. They say your net worth is your network, right? Your
100%
your
for me.
net worth,
For
whichever
me,
way round that is. Yeah.
for me, for me, it has been. And I'll tell you one other thing. As you get higher up the ladder in terms of your entrepreneurial, because you'll know better. I don't care
Mm,
if you're watching this and you've got 100 million, you'll know better than me or anyone
mm,
else. Somebody who hasn't got a job,
mm.
nobody's better than anybody else. We're all equal.
Yeah.
Some people take risks and they're entrepreneurial. Some people are happy working
Mm.
9 to 5, and that is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. The
Yeah.
country's letting you down by not with inflation, etc. You should be able to work
Yeah.
full time and live a normal life. That's the problem. That's why it's so important for you to take this
Mm.
step, because you know
Even if it's just a side hustle, just to get some,
exactly, because the industrial age
Yeah.
rewarded average work with high wages,
Right.
or average or above average wages. You were in a
Mm.
position where you could work a job. A really good
Mm.
example of this that I always point to, which is quite funny, is The Simpsons.
Right.
If you look at Homer in The Simpsons, he had a stay-at-home wife, 3 kids. 3 kids? Yeah, 3 kids. He worked a job, and he could afford to run a house, a car, go on a holiday, right? And that was real.
Yeah.
Those times existed. That was
Yes.
how it was.
Oh,
That
they go on.
the man used to go to work and the woman used to stay at home. Now, there's been a lot
Yeah.
of, because I don't want to get bitten by people for saying this traditional thing. Listen, I'm
Mm.
brought up the way that I'm brought up, and I am the way that I am, and my opinion
Mm.
is my own, and nobody can change them. I
Mm.
think it's my responsibility to look after whoever is my partner at that time, and definitely my daughters,
Mm.
and it's my job to do that.
Yeah.
Whoever my partner is wants to work and go and start her own business, I'll help, I'll
Mm.
support, I'll do whatever.
Mm.
You have the same exact opportunity as me, not just
Yeah.
because you're male or female, but I genuinely believe that in your DNA as a man, in your
Yeah.
DNA, there's something inside of you that is a protector.
Yes.
I don't, I think that the world is trying to to suffocate that,
Mm.
like,
Mm.
for some
Mm.
reason. It's not a
Mm.
bad thing. It's not that you're not equal. I
Mm.
wanna protect you. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
If you were my partner and I wanted to protect you and provide for you, what is
Mm.
wrong with that? I shouldn't be
Nothing is
ashamed.
wrong with that at
No,
all.
there isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, too many people these days think that, it's oppressing or whatever, but I don't
Yeah.
wanna go to that. To say
Yeah.
from this video, man, woman, donkey, whatever you are, right? We can be successful together in this world. Just take the risk, jump
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
don't be
The
afraid
opportunities
of
are out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
You as soon as I peeked
Yeah.
behind the curtain, I was
Or be
like,
afraid. You can be afraid, but work through it anyway. Just do it anyway. Right. And
"Oh,
then
yeah,
you'll find when you look back, what was I worried about?
yeah, because
That's
let me confirm, right?
yeah.
I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
But do you know that fear? That's what fuels the fire.
Yes. Yeah.
And whilst you're comfortable, sat in your 9 to 5, paying your rent, you don't feel that fire
Yeah.
because your check comes every month
Mm.
and you're in a position where the rent's paid.
Yeah.
You might be able to take your missus out for a meal once a week if
Yeah.
you're lucky. You don't know what that fire's like. And so many people live their life and it ends and they've
Yeah.
never seen 100% of themselves. And that's really, really, really sad.
I love
And
that. Love that.
for people around me, I started something, I peeked behind the curtain. I was like, guys, they're doing something different over here, and this is how you do it, and you make money, and your life's better. And actually, you don't have to be told what to do every day, and not everything to eat, and no, you don't have to worry about the price of milk. Like, just come and have a look at this. And
Yeah.
I tell as many people as I physically possibly can, hopefully your listeners, to come and
I
have a look behind this curtain,
yeah.
because
Was gonna say, I'm just hoping that I'm sure you will inspire a lot of people listening to this to think, yeah, why not? Why not give it a go?
I am, when I tell you, in almost every single way,
Mm.
right? Except for sales. I'm
Mm.
exception for sales. But and being a speaker, like, because like, as you could probably tell if you've listened to this, I've just waffled on. No script, just straight things off what I'm thinking at the time. But if there's one thing I can tell you about me is that in almost every single way, I am bang average.
Right.
There is
Yeah.
nothing special about me.
Right.
I
And that's
am not
usually the way with most successful entrepreneurs. It is the case. There's nothing about them that's different from anybody else. They just
didn't do
do
great
it.
at school, went to
Yeah.
university, got a third. Who gets
Yeah.
a third at university, right? I wrote my dissertation the night before it was due in.
Love
I
love it.
started it, right? I started it. I'm not gonna say this bit because I don't wanna, just in case, but and then I found out it was somebody's birthday. We ended up at Leadmill in Sheffield, which is
Leadville. Oh my god.
you would have found me for 4 years, you would have found me in Leadmill every Monday and every Friday night,
Well, I was in
right?
the Wap and Take.
All right, I see. You would have found me in the lead mill every Friday with my
Right.
gang who I live with, at university dorms.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason my downturn happened. But anyway, like, that you would have found me in there. And yeah, like, I've kind of forgot the point I was making because you made me think about lead
Like,
mill, but
you're thinking
I
about the lead mill.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, thinking I haven't been back in a while, I might nip in there. No, I just, if I had a closing sort of, I mean, if you've got questions to ask, fire.
No, no, go ahead. No,
Yeah.
I think we've
If I
covered
had
a
a
lot.
if I had a closing sort of statement, I
Mm,
know that this podcast has been all over. I know the
mm,
camera was dodgy for out of it. It started this morning. Apologies to anybody
yeah.
watching the visual copy, but the editor will do a good job on it. If I could tell anybody anything, honestly, it would just be this. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Mm,
It isn't for everyone. You have to give your life to it. It is very,
mhm.
very, very, very difficult, right?
Yes.
You feel lonely. There is nobody to turn to. You're on your own. When things go wrong, it's on you. When things go right, it's on you. You
Mm.
have emotional ups and downs, waves. You have different things that come and go. Good
Yeah,
months,
all in
bad,
one day.
good years, all in 1 hour. You can have win 2 clients, have a cancellation, and something like in your business happens, and there's a flood or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever you do. But what I will tell you is, I would rather be put in my casket knowing that I was a man who tried and died with nothing than be put in my casket as a man who lived in mediocrity for his entire life
Right.
and accepted
Nice.
it.
I like
And
that.
that is the message that I would give to
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Life's fast. And I would think when they do put you in, I know it's a little bit morbid, but when your life does come to an end,
Which you
what
will.
do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah.
And I know now, if they put me in my box right this minute, everybody would stand around and say, nobody told that guy what to do. And he took as
Mm,
many risks as everybody else. He was the
mm,
nicest, most generous person you could ever meet. But
mm.
when it came down to business, if he got a bone, like, he wouldn't stop chewing it. And I want people to do that. I want my
Yeah.
daughters to point to me and say, my life, say, my dad did this. Even my eldest daughter,
Be
she might be
proud.
like, you weren't around when I was younger. That
Mm,
changed my childhood and my life's affected by that. And
mm,
I apologize for that. It's not just my fault. There's 2 people
mm,
in that party, but I
mhm,
apologize for that. But she will say, but you know what? He turned from that
mm,
into this,
mm,
and he did it with nothing but himself initially.
mm,
Sheer
mm.
willpower. That's all
Yeah.
it took. And instilling that into you, they say it's not what you leave to your child, it's what you leave in them. And that's
Yeah.
exactly the way that I look at that's
Nice.
exactly the way that I look at it.
Love it.
So
Love it.
yeah, if you're not inspired by that, then entrepreneurship definitely isn't
It's
for
not
you.
fit.
Go and take the leap. It's dangerous, but don't be scaremongered by everything that's happening in the world. The gap between the ultra
Mm,
rich,
mm,
the middle class is evaporating,
mm,
right?
mm, mm, mm.
Because, everything's going up, the rich are getting wealthier. Rishi
Yeah.
Sunak, like 700 million, even if he makes 5% a year, right, on that money,
Yeah.
he's going to consistently outprice it. Means he can buy all the assets when they're going. The house
Right.
prices versus average salary are like 20-25x.
Mm,
You're going to be in a position where your children can't buy houses. You're going
mm.
to be in a position where there's going to be huge problems on the horizon.
Yeah.
Use that as the fire that makes
Mm.
you say, I'm not tolerating this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a quote that I've heard someone say that, if you're born poor, it's not your fault, but if you die poor, it is.
And it's
It's
100% true. Yeah. And poor and rich are relative.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know somebody who's a developer,
Mm.
and he's a developer, and all he wants is a lifestyle business. So
Right.
he's building his way now. He's a great guy, right? I call him the Moldovan Beast. That's his nickname. His name's Konstantin, and he's the nicest guy ever.
Okay.
He brought some sweets back from Moldova. He brought me some honey. It's still downstairs. We
Okay.
have it back from Moldova. He is the
Mm.
nicest guy. He's the nicest guy ever. I check in with him from time to time.
Mm.
And when it comes down to him, his conversation was different to me.
Right.
And he was entrepreneurial the same way. But what he said to me was, Michael, I don't want to be in an attic. like working all the time. My idea of entrepreneurship and his idea are different. And
Yeah.
that's okay. He wants to make 15, 20 grand a month and be able to live his life on a beach, going to the gym, getting in shape. And if that's what you want, it's there for you. You
It's
can
like that,
choose
that's the
where
key, right?
you
It's just
where you
know
go.
what you want. Know
Yeah.
what you want, and then you can go and get it, right? If you don't know what you want, then
Yeah.
you're losing before you even set off, right?
I told him this, and I'll tell the audience this as a final point. I
Yeah.
told him this, and I told the audience this. The problem is that when you hit what you think that you wanted, you want more. That's the problem. So like it's all right now it's saying that you want X, but when you get X, you want Y. And at that
Yeah.
point, that's when the hamster wheel starts spinning. But
God.
yeah,
Okay.
just commit. Everybody out there, the work is bang average. You're not
Yeah.
up against elite people. You're not.
No.
I
No.
guarantee you, if you're a private tutor that does, I don't know, like whatever, year 10 or year 11 SAT, or whatever the exams are called, like you
Yeah.
do that and you work at a school and you want to be a private tutor, I guarantee you could be better than 99% of other private tutors. If you
Yeah.
sat down, looked at how
And you
you will
looked.
operate, found out how to, understood the industry, you're a good teacher, improve in certain areas, get high percentage pass rates, your name gets around, you've got a business, you're making 100 grand a year. You're no longer burning in a classroom with 35 kids with one TA.
Yeah. And that's a similar thing that hit me this week with a client I'm building a website for. And I just looked at the competition in the same industry. And I said, the bar is so low. I could build you any website and you're going to be above 90% that's out there because it's rubbish, right? So you tend to, until you really look and you investigate, you don't see and you don't notice really how mediocre some things are, right? And then you just come along and you've got a standard that's a little bit higher, you're going to win.
Everybody underestimated me.
Mm.
I remember phone calls with people. Nobody thought I would do this. Nobody thought I would do this. The only person that knew that I would do this was my mum.
Yeah.
She
So
was
with me,
the
it was
only
my
person.
husband. My
Yeah.
husband was for me.
My mum was the only person that looked at me and told me, it doesn't matter what you do, you'll make it work. It doesn't matter what it is. And like when that voice, don't get me wrong, like I had the friend come round and say me that little bit of, but that wasn't him telling me that he believed in me. That was him just saying, I've got a business and you haven't. And I can see why. He wasn't being horrible. He was just, that was the conversation. It wasn't like a what do they call it? It wasn't like an
motivational.
what do they call it? Like an intervention. It wasn't like an intervention.
Okay. Right.
In my life, where he said, "Oh, like da." It wasn't. It just triggered something in me that set me off, and I appreciate it for that. I appreciate him for that. But what I'm trying to explain to you is like nobody believed that I could do it except my mum, right? Nobody, and because of that, all of the blessings go to them. My mum's now like she's going to retire at the end of this year. I own a caravan park. On that caravan park, there is an annex that has been where she's lived. She sold her house. She's moved into it. She retires. She doesn't pay any bills. There's nothing for her. She can stay in there, and that's me repaying her for all of that faith and goodwill. Because when I was down bad, when I was really down bad, my dad's my dad, but my dad we're from Sheffield. My dad is very, very much a man's man. Like, strong. You provide for your family. It's where I'm from. I heard the car. You used to hear the car light up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. when he was going to work every day. Like, I knew what hard work was, what you had to do for your family. Like, because my dad showed me. That's exactly what I mean. And, nobody will believe in you. Don't pick up the phone and call and ask somebody what they think to your idea.
No.
Don't.
No, everybody told me not to start my business except for my husband. Everybody advised me not to do it.
Well, you need to watch.
Don't listen to people who aren't doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why listen to somebody less successful than you? Like, don't. I don't take any advice unless you're in my circle. I don't mean this in a rude way. But like, unless you're more successful than me, like, I will listen to you. I'm the most polite person. I will have a great conversation with you. I'll share all my knowledge. I will do anything I can to help. I'm so generous. It's unbelievable. But if you were to tell me you're doing that wrong and you haven't done it, your opinion, I would say, thank you for your opinion, but I don't agree. Like, and that's it, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
Because That's where a lot of people fall. They pluck up the. I'm so glad we brought this up. I mean, if there's a clip at the start of this, I think it should be this.
Thank
Because
you. You've done my job for me.
no, seriously, because this is really important. When you're on your entrepreneurial journey, there are millions and millions of people, probably hundreds of millions of people that have died, right? Having not taken that risk because of what someone else told them that they could or couldn't do.
Mm,
And that is an absolute travesty. You
yes.
know what you can do. You know that you can make it happen. Everyone knows the numbers, the amount of millionaires and billionaires that have been
Mm,
bankrupt before. Do
mm,
you know
mm,
why?
mm,
Because they're risk takers and they
mm.
take the risk, and it doesn't work all the time. But do you know what? You go again and you go again, and at that point you end up with success. But the fastest way for you to kill a big idea is to tell it to a small mind. So don't do it.
Yes, I love that. I love that. That is a great point to end on, and we will begin on it too.
Yeah,
Okay, so Michael, thank you so much for coming on. It has been genuinely inspiring, and your story is inspiring, and your attitude to everything is people need to hear this for sure.
I
So
appreciate that.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. So where can I send them to for them to find out more about you?
The way that you find out more about me is you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you'll find me on there. I'm more
Mm,
than happy for you to connect to me there. But the big thing is, if you want to hear more about like how I operate, the things that I do, it's got
mm,
to be my two YouTube channels,
right.
Michael Elliott AI and Michael Elliott PPC. Those
Okay.
two individual channels. Head over there, show some love, like watch some
Yeah.
videos, subscribe. That's how you will see behind the scenes, especially if you're an aspiring entrepreneur. There's
Yeah.
literally videos out there that I've created where I show you how to go and win work, where I
Okay.
do it. So, like,
Nice.
it actually ties in. You could go over there, find those videos, and my very latest video, as of the time of this recording, which is the 27th of March, it'll be a while after this, so you have
Yeah.
to go and find it. But
Yeah.
at the time of this recording, my most recent video is about how everybody is saying that freelancing platforms like Upwork and places like that are dying. But in
Yeah.
reality, because the ratio is 22 freelancers to every one job, that's the
Mm,
ratio on Upwork.
mm.
But what's happening is each individual client is spending more and more every year.
Okay.
So there's actually more money being invested in the market. Upwork have
Mm,
just had their best year financially. And yeah, if you offer a digital service, especially, but any sort of service,
mm,
language, you can teach languages, whatever,
mm.
head to Upwork, check that out. Seriously,
Nice.
like a great
Yeah.
place to find clients.
Yeah. A place to start as well. Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay, so Michael, thank you so much. I will put the link to everything that Michael's referenced around this video or audio, wherever you're listening or watching it. And do go and check him out. You'll learn a lot more than what we've already covered on this episode. So, Michael, thank you so much.
No worries. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the show today. And if you've liked what you've heard, then do subscribe to the channel wherever you see it, wherever you're watching it. And if you're on YouTube, ring the bell so that you can get notified when we upload another episode so you don't miss the episodes as they come up.